Oh, yeah. Hey, good morning. Do we have a cha-cha cam going?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I'm doing the turning.
Hold on, Jay. Let me cut on your mic here. Go ahead.
I'm not just cha-cha back and forth, man. I'm doing the pivot.
Jay goes
the turning,
sidewards. Yeah.
The sideways, the diamond.
You'd make a good boxer, Jay, with that footwork.
Can you even imagine? Did you not watch Roy Jones Jr. versus Mike Tyson?
Man, I did.
And imagine me, gangly and looking like half Chamorro, half Howley, and half Giraffe, in a ring with a professional
That
fighter.
could have thrown him off. What a disappointment, anyway. Did you see Tyson said he smoked weed before the fight?
Did he say that?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Oh, man.
And I think he said something like, "It is, or it's part of who I am." I mean, what I thought was like, damn, Roy Jones is lucky he smoked weed. He must have smoked like the chill weed. Anyway, I don't know where we're going with this. Just Jay, as usual, drops some like weird random thing. But good morning. Yeah, 7:09. Good morning. Yeah, first of the month, December. Wow. Dude, that was Johnny Sablon, Jingle Bell Rock on this Giving Tuesday, as we have now officially opened and started accepting donations for Giving Tuesday here at our KUAM studios in Harmon. Hey, I want to thank our sponsors for believing in us. Dial Rent to Own. Dial Rent to Own. Thank you so much. Also, Calvo Select Care, federal employees and annuitants. I know you know it's 2020 open enrollment, so go with insurance that actually covers COVID. Enroll now until December 14, 2020. Call 477-9808 for more information. I'm also brought to you by, for all my aircon babies out there, Carrier at 647-COOL. IT&E, right, where they're doing all kinds of great stuff for the holidays, some bunch of great Christmas deals. And Calvo Enterprises. Good morning at 7:10. Also on the way this morning, Burger King will present Cover Me, which is where I get to pick a local artist and a song performing a cover. And it's brought to you by Burger King. It's really cool. It's 7:10 now. Let's go to the KUAM News Zoom room where Dr. Felix Cabrera joins us this morning. And I just got to start it off by saying, how about that car score, Doc?
How about that car score? Good morning, Chris.
Good morning, Dr. Cabrera. So I know you heard, we're always, part thinking out loud, part, giving you a hard time. But here we are, strive for 5. I want to just maybe start with something that Dr. Hoa had said last week, and I hope you guys are on the same page with this, but he had said that, it's strive for 5, but it's not like once we get to 5, open the floodgates, release the Kraken. It's something that has to be sustained for a little bit, right?
Yep, absolutely. And so, getting the car score below 5 is really like being underwater for so long and finally coming up for a breath of air. And so, we can't go back down underwater. We have to stay, we have to keep the car score below 5. And really, we need to see it for at least about 1 to 2 weeks, most likely 2 weeks before we truly have the hospitals get the relief they need. Now, let's remember exactly why the car score is even important. It's because of the primary endpoints that we care about. We care about how many people are in the hospital, and we care about even more so, how many people are dying from COVID. So the car score is just our compass, right? And you can't just look at your compass once and then just think you're completely on the right track. You got to keep referencing it and make sure that you continue to be on the right track in order to get to your destination. And so right now, there's been some mistrust in the car score, especially when we didn't plan for a cluster outbreak to happen, as soon as we announced that we were going to start following the car score and what exactly that was. But here's an important point that I really want to make is that our car score jumped up extremely high. And that's because of the rapid testing and rapid identification of the construction workers and Department of Correction clusters. As soon as that was contained, the car score dropped down really quick. And there's really one major department to thank for that, and that's public health. That reflects their quick work and their solid work. And right now, I think I feel comfortable, in my opinion, to say that we are far enough from the clusters that we are that we feel pretty confident that there hasn't been, widespread community transmission, and that's important. So where we are in the CAR score at 4.2, that was the trend that we were on before the clusters. We bounced up, but then we came back down, and we're matching that same trajectory right now. So community spread has been on the downward turn for sure. We've been seeing that for the past several weeks now. And so it continues to go in that direction. So that's what's really important. So I just want to applaud everybody's efforts. This is really great. The CAR score right now is reflective of what was done 1 to 2 weeks ago. So it doesn't necessarily reflect what we've done during Christmas. Thanksgiving. So we have to see, we need to wait another week or so. If the CAR score bumps up, that might be because of what people did during Thanksgiving, especially toward the end of this week when we see what the score is by Friday.
Doc, I'm just to play devil's advocate here. I'm kind of getting shades of that when President Bush went on the aircraft carrier and they did that whole mission accomplished thing.
Oh, yeah.
So this is the first day it's been under 5, right? But what I was talking about earlier was we've held up the CAR score is kind of like the new gold standard, the new metric that the response and the government of Guam moves by. So what do you say to those people who are listening this morning and saying, "Oh, it's under 5. That's it. We're here."
Going back to my analogy of being underwater and us finding just coming up for a breath of air, we still have to swim to shore, and so and we're very, very, very far away from shore, and so that's the way you need to look at it. This is still a marathon. This is not a sprint. We do have to take our victories when we can, and we have to acknowledge them, and we need to learn from the lessons that we've had from it and what worked and what didn't work. Why didn't we get to 4.2 sooner? That's another thing to think about. But we are below 5 now. We may easily jump above that. It's not well below 5. We're not below 2.5. But we really need to have this sustained in order for us to really see it in the hospitalization. And let me go back to the hospitalization, for example. It was trending down along with the CAR score as it's been going down, and it didn't really reflect that bump with the clusters. So that means that those cluster persons, not that many ended up in the hospital. We know several from Department of Corrections did. But over the past 7 days, and I didn't get today's full numbers, but now going on 8 days, we've been stuck in the 40s of total hospitalizations. Again, for reference, back on our first wave in March and April, the max hospitalizations we got was 25. So we're stuck at a plateau that's nearly double that. That's still way too much. And the only way it's gonna break through and start going down below 40 and hopefully go down towards 0 is if we keep this CAR score below 5, and even more so if we keep it way below that, even below 2.5 is even better.
And so, in your opinion, when we talk about the community spread, so there was no doubt, right, in the beginning of this latest surge, that was all community, right? And then we saw the clusters come in. I mean, I want to say within the last 2 to 3 weeks. But that community spread that we saw in the front half of this surge, are you confident that it's kind of washed out, or do you think that this mass testing this week will show us that there's still COVID out there?
Well, I wouldn't say washed out, but it's sludge that is just now muddy. And so we need to get to clearer water for sure. But the peak of that community spread, the most recent peak was around the last week of October. And then that's when it started going down, the community spread itself. So ever since the last week of October till now, the general sense is, again, if you assume that cluster was truly contained and it continues to be contained and it's not reflecting the community, I think we're more confident in saying that now. This community spread continues to go down and actually matches a natural, the same rate of decline. If you just remove the clusters, you just follow that line and it matches right back up with it. So with without the clusters, the point is that we were already heading in this direction, and that's again because of the action. So we need to maintain that and definitely sustain it.
And again, Doc, it's too early to tell how we did on Thanksgiving, right?
Yes, it's still way too early to tell.
When would we start to see the effects of Thanksgiving?
So it takes about anywhere from 1 to 2 weeks before our actions are reflected in the CAR score. And so I would say probably by maybe Friday, we whatever the CAR score is on Friday, that will probably be the beginning of what was the reflection of Thanksgiving is how I would say it. And just remember that we don't update the CAR score over the weekend because we don't get complete data. We don't want to put out incomplete information. So the CAR score remains what it is through the weekend and then gets its next update on that Monday evening.
Can you talk a little bit about the accuracy of the Binex test?
Yeah. And so we had a call with the U.S. Surgeon General and Dr. Deborah Birx, who's the coordinator of the White House Task Force on Coronavirus. And it was a very, it was a great call because it was very interactive and they answered a lot of our questions. But what was clear from Dr. Birx's side was that she was really pushing, her main point was that we need to use antigen testing primarily on asymptomatic persons on a serial basis, on a repeat basis. So her example were college students, where certain colleges make it mandatory that you get a test every week, an antigen test, and they make it very easy. Self-administered, no machine involved. It's almost as simple as a pregnancy test, but you can do it out in the public. And so you can have multiple people lined up. And so the accuracy, to your question, Chris, is that her point is that if you use it frequently on asymptomatics, you're going to get 60 to 70% of them caught, okay, that you can catch them. And that's way better from when you're looking at spread, the potential for spread. That's way better than waiting 5 days for them to have symptoms and then catching them 100% using the PCR. And so with that change in mindset, we embrace that, and public health has embraced that because it's been proven very well that that's way more effective than trying to rely completely on traditional contact tracing and waiting for people to be symptomatic to test.
Hey, Doc, Jason here. Chris has kind of been like, he's tried to pick apart the math for the CAR score and everything like that. But from moment one, I'm someone who believes in algorithms. We deal with them all the time and everything. Like, I really appreciate that. And I wanted to ask you, as an algorithm, the true mark of a good algorithm is that, kind of like a virus, it's always evolving. So do you maybe see yourself maybe like 6 months down the road, as more data is available, as we have more inputs to actually better measure what's going on, like in the environment of Guam and, with the pandemic, do you see yourself maybe modifying the formula behind the CAR score to better gauge exactly where we are as a community?
To be clear, this is actually the third iteration of the CAR score that was made public. So we've constantly been evolving the CAR score. So thank you for that question. And it would be very surprised if we don't again adjust it as more information comes forward that will make it useful. Again, we're going to only adjust it if it becomes more useful for us in terms of what our priorities will be. And again, it's hard to think of any other major priority than decreasing hospitalizations and decreasing deaths.
Awesome. All right.
Doc, so what do you anticipate though? We hold this for a week. Let's say, hypothetically, we hold the CAR score under 5 for a week. What recommendations would the PAG be making to the governor in terms of easing restrictions? What are some of the first things that we're going to see ease up?
Yeah. So we'll have to again see what the CAR score is in relationship to the hospital census, and if something doesn't correlate well, then we're going to try and figure that out, and we're going to need more data basically to make a recommendation. So then it's not going to be a week; it's going to be 2 weeks before we feel more comfortable making a recommendation. And really, again, very slow. Really, the only change might be a change on the limit of number of persons in a social gathering, and that may come with other caveats too. Like maybe it'll increase the number, but it will have to be limited to a certain number of households, for example. And how some states in the country are doing. So I don't know that right now. We'll see. There's a lot of different scenarios that have been discussed just to put it out there. But I think that answer will evolve on its own and will become apparent once it after we have the CAR score at least under below 5 for about 2 weeks.
So there's no discussion in play or planning in play as to like, okay, we told them to strive for 5. When they strive for 5, this is what's going to happen. So just basically social gathering limitations. So right now it's what, 5? 5 is the limit,
Sorry?
right? 5 is the limit for social gathering. So what do you think? It would like go up to like what, 10? Are we going to jack it up to like 25?
I don't think we're going to jack it up to 25. Okay. I think we have to. I think it has to be something sensible. We've already proven, thus far that we can do 5, responsibly. There wasn't much responsibility earlier on, even when it's been 5 for a long time, and we haven't done enough, but we now have, and it's shown that. So what we can't do is shoot ourselves in the foot in the process, right? Because it's still one of the things that we want to be able to do and do for family, but it's going to be, and what's different now is, again, having teeth in what the executive orders are and what public health directives are, and being able to issue out fines. That changes the game, honestly, to a major degree, I think, in this.
Okay. Doc, so do you have any inclination on what the CAR score is going to be tonight? Since
yeah, I don't have enough of the most current data, but I think we're still gonna. I think we have a good chance of still being below 5. And to be honest, I need to set on a few other numbers, but it looks like we've been under 5 for at least 2 days. And so that's good. So this may be the first day that we reported it, but it in all likelihood it was below 5 over the weekend, and then we can probably say that that's when the clock started. So we'll see.
So are we talking 2 weeks like business days or 2 weeks regular time, 14 days?
I would say regular.
Okay. So that's official then. We're now 2 days into. Is it a week or a 2?
I have to check on a few other data points and cross-reference it with some of public health's official numbers, but it appears that way based on the information I have thus far. It's just that it's not finalized.
Right. Are you meeting with the Gov this morning?
Yes.
So is this pretty much going to be the gist of your presentation?
Pretty much, yeah. We've been, it's a big part of it as well, and then a part of our strategies in overall in terms of how we're the testing and identification and where we are in terms of the challenges and then other discussions about what might come next and just putting out different scenarios to weigh it.
Hey, they had a protest yesterday of I want to say it was the bar owners, empty stool kind of thing.
Oh yeah, can I address that?
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that.
Yeah, I was so appreciative of what they did. They lined up 2 months. I saw briefly on the news, I saw them line up empty chairs, and I thank them so much for lining up those empty chairs to represent how many people have died from COVID here on Guam. Those empty seats at the table.
Didn't see that one coming, Doc.
Sorry?
I didn't see that one coming. But I mean, just like as a doctor, right? Where are we? I mean, I know what Fauci has said nationally, but with the bars, right? The last ones, I mean, really, they're still closed. What's the I guess the medical reasoning behind the fact that they're still closed, and we don't really see an opening in sight? Just I mean, I understand it, but maybe if you could put it out for some of those people, including bar owners who may not grasp the reality of it.
So if you look at every part of the world that's having major problems with their surge, and those that are not inclined to do very big changes in terms of mitigation, but one of the first things they do attempt to regulate is the bars, either by putting a cap on the time that they can be open or just having them closed completely and being specific. And again, bars are a very unique scenario. They're not the same as restaurants. in that, there's a lot more conversations that happen because you're there to socialize typically. You have a social lubricant that's part of that, which is the alcohol. And then you have people reaching over and talking, strangers coming by the bar, if you're sitting at the bar and talking and being in very close proximity. And there's ultimately, in the end, there's a lot of air exchanges between everyone in those settings. So that's just the recipe for major transmission, especially indoors.
Okay. That was because I was thinking about it the other night. I mean, how many times you've been in a bar where you're like, the band is playing and you're yelling in someone's ear, right? Hey, this band is really cool.
Yeah, no,
hey,
that's
girl.
a great point too. I didn't even put that in, consider that. That's a big factor as well. And even if it's not a band, just the music.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Well, Doc, I got to let you go because we're starting to line up a bunch of people outside and I got to run outside. Thank you so much for clarifying that and providing the context. So 2 days into, we said, or they're saying that we got to hold this car score for a week or 2 weeks. What, Doc, which is it? A week or 2 weeks?
Let's say 2 weeks.
Okay. So 2 weeks.
Let's be clear. Let's make it clear. We need this to be at least 2 weeks. And that's at least 2 weeks.
Okay. Right on. All right. So Dr. Cabrera, thank you so much for your time. Be safe.
Thank you.
All right. And
Take
what
care,
do we got,
everyone.
Jay? It's Jay's week in the Zoom room. What do we got there? Virtual what?
No, well, last time Doc was asking for Rischetti, so we hooked him up. We got some virtual Rischetti, Doc.
This is Jason's
Thank
recipe,
you.
okay? Make sure you have plenty of water standing by, milk even. All right, Doc, we'll see you.
All right.
Dr. Felix Cabrera from the Physicians Advisory Group. The point man for the car score kind of going in. It is 4.2, and Dr. Cabrera said we're looking to maintain that for 2 weeks, and then we would see these restrictions start to be lifted. Crystal Paco San Augustine says it. Dr. Cabrera says it. The first restrictions we would probably be looking at being eased would be social gathering restrictions. So, hey, I got to take a quick break and run outside. We'll share some of our donations that we've got so far for Giving Tuesday. And then we have Reverend Tax Director Daphne Shimizu coming up on the link. It's The Breeze, 93.9. Good morning, Guam.
We value relationships.